You right there, guys. Big shout out to everyone of you guys that is making an effort to hit that play button, and thank you ever so much for you guys keep subscribing. Means the world to me. I kid you not, because at the end of the day, other than just reviews, I try and think of hot topic videos such as this one I'm uploading today. Now, I just want to say to everyone of you guys is that I'm still shattered from Forbidden Door. I did my content, yeah, fair enough. I didn't crawl into bed till 7 a.m. I think it was 7:30 in the morning. I crashed out for the rest of the day. I was literally burned out. It was a long day yesterday as well, and I enjoyed bringing you guys content, and that's as and when. But I just want to give you this hot take video today. That one thing I've noticed that every time, not as much as the way you may think, because I feel like the only time when AEW more or less gets attacked is on their pay-per-views. Now, what I mean by attacked is WWE fans attacking AEW fans or critiquing AEW. It's been a known thing, because at the end of the day, I've seen people do it towards TNA fans back in the day, like myself. If you enjoy something, that's great. Don't get me wrong. Like I keep stressing, people are entitled to their opinions. But I feel like it's a common thing when it comes to wrestling. I feel like what is the massive flaw with it is I feel like they've treated it like other sport at times, with the tribalism and so on, right? I'm a Manchester United fan. Yeah, we've had a rubbish season. I could be someone else could be a Man City fan. We'll give digs left, right, and centre. Fair enough. It's banter, right? But one thing I've noticed with wrestling, sometimes it can be quite sick and sinister and so on like that. It's beyond the joke sometimes. That I look at the way I feel towards WWE fans. I'm a WWE fan still, even though I could look like I hate the product. I just want it done right. I'm not saying my way, but I'm saying it for a fan's perspective. And if AEW, prime example, last night did what they did with the Anarchy in the Arena match, they literally played music over the top of it. Do you see WWE doing that? Look, like I've had people have a dig about that. People don't realise that's technically their subliminal way of tributing Sabu. That's why they did it. They put little Easter eggs towards his moveset in the matches. If you watch properly, you would have seen them. You just see what's on the internet, you just join in. But part of me feels that if you're a WWE fan, are you a secret AEW fan? I'm using these as an example. But you just join on the bandwagon what happens on the internet to slate AEW for what they stand for and what they do. Because I see it way too often when it comes to a pay-per-view. Because I said many years ago, this was when Samoa Joe was in NXT. NXT would be, if I had my old reviews of NXT, I wish I had. Because I used to watch NXT, review that. Watch Dynamite, review that. It was all constantly on this, on the other channel. It got too much, that's why it was overwhelming, let alone I was getting hate and all that lot. I said when Samoa Joe was NXT champion, what would be good if WWE got a partnership with the likes of TNA to help them along. This is when I was watching TNA. I suddenly stopped because I couldn't handle the pressure. That's why I stopped watching the weekly products. I just mainly watched the pay-per-views. This was even the WWE main roster. But when the likes of Dynamite came along, I started watching weekly products and then got into it once again. But to me, when I look at the way the internet works, if you are critiquing something like that, you're trying to find little faults. Then when people are saying, "Oh, Tony Khan shouldn't book 9-hour pay-per-views," that's why people leave at the main event. It wasn't even 9 hours long. I'm not being funny. You're critiquing that about people leaving. They can leave. AEW's got their money. What's the deal? You know, what's it to you as a wrestling fan, meant to be a wrestling fan, that people want to leave at the main event? If they want to leave at the main event, they can do. That's what I mean. They want to nitpick against Tony Khan so much. He's got such a thick skin, I feel. And the pressures he's got to deal with, like social media critiquing him. You know? And you just want to find a fault. You know? He's a person at the end of the day. Yes, he may be richer than me, obviously. But he's a person at the end of the day. You know? It baffles me when it comes to the pay-per-views. They always critique it. What do you want? Less for your money? It seems that way this day and age. In 2025, people want less for their freaking money. You know, I'm not being funny. I'm 42 years old. I don't want less for my money. I want greatest value that you can get. You know? If there's 2 or 3 matches on a pre-show, and then there's like 7 or 8 maybe matches on a pay-per-view. Right? That's what I don't get. People's mentality this day and age. Why would you pay X amount of money to see something the same length as a Raw, just say? I'm not saying, I'm saying an example, guys. Don't get your knickers in a twist. The Triple H has literally booked it for like the same length as a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown or less. So you want that. What's the point of... The thing is, you are getting less for your buck. You know? People used to critique saying the likes of Raw was too much at 3 hours. Because, you know why? Commercial ad breaks. You know? I took the piss on my SmackDown main event review. Like, taking drinks of water. Just to highlight a fact. It's like interrupting the flow of the matches. So, NXT happened last night. I haven't watched NXT Battleground. I've not watched NXT since... Oh, God. The end of the Black and Gold era. 2.0. When that went... you know, when that went that way. It felt like it was. I was watching WWE. I watched the first episode and I felt like, why was this repackaged? Why was this repackaged? The one thing I never get with the likes of NXT, and this is me being honest, right? With Black and Gold era, was fantastic. Teletubbies spunk everywhere. Never got it. I never got it from the word go. That's why I didn't give it more of a light to it. Then they've repackaged it. You know, that's the only part of WWE's brand I've noticed. They've tried to rebrand so many times. You know, this way is working, don't get me wrong. I've seen clips. It's working for them. But I've not watched Battleground. I'm not saying this in a bad light. I don't entertain NXT. I do respect what NXT's platform is all about. But when people want to critique AEW for doing what they did last night, like certain things, you clearly don't know wrestling. You know? The only reason why I feel like WWE technically upped their game is because of what AEW's been doing recently. Why all of a sudden you've literally got the likes of NXT Battleground on a Sunday? You used to do them like midweek on a Wednesday. or Tuesday, in fact. You know? You just want to hit other people's products with putting PLEs or pay-per-views on at the same time. And yeah, but when it concerns you, you don't want to put it on a Saturday because that will interfere with Saturday main event. You don't want to put it on a Friday because you work in a relationship. You don't want to hinder the likes of TNA. They put it on a Friday. You know, that's what baffles me. Is I feel like WWE fans are secretly other brands wrestling fans. Because how could you could say, okay, fair enough. I've seen no end of fans, don't get me wrong, watch all wrestling like myself. But it comes to the point where people just join on the bandwagon, hinder other wrestling companies because they think theirs is better. I'm not saying this in a bad light, don't get me wrong. But they always hinder AEW, but they support their own brand, fair enough. Because I feel like it's been brought in by other sports. You know, we've had it in football. We've had it in American football. We've had it in cricket. We've had it in tennis, you say. Yeah, you do get it in tennis. People support... you get it in F1. You support whatever team you want to be on that. And you stick by that team throughout the season. You know? But a fan like me that watches it all sees what these people are doing and they can easily turn around and say, no, they're not. When clearly they bloody well are. You know? This is the thing what makes me laugh. Is you look at the way it's become. You know? You can praise the shit out of NXT, don't get me wrong. But you want to nitpick certain things. Right? You literally, like I mentioned about the MCC situation, like there was a meme going around, oh, it's Tony Khan's fault, he's booked a 9-hour pay-per-view. It wasn't 9 hours. People should use their brain cells. You know? But at least they were, even though they've left, they could have left to go on for a beer. Or they could have gone to the merch stand. Or they could have gone to get a hot dog or anything like that. Is this what fans... This is what actually technically AEW fan base buys tickets for? To take a picture of where people are not sitting? Is that what it's come to? You know? They can leave, but AEW still got the money. You know? At least one thing, them people had the decency to buy a ticket to entertain the show. You know? People just don't realise. Right? If you want to nitpick about people that have left, that paid all that money, why does it concern you so much? That how many are in attendance? How many people that are actually... Oh, you know, it's hard to put into words. Oh my god, look what Hangman Adam Page. But I'll tell you one thing, I guarantee majority of these people, right, I'll be honest with you, is illegally streamed it. I legitimately pay for every pay-per-view they have done since 2019 because I feel like it's worth the money. And they do TV specials which are coming up are going to be 4 hours long. So it's a free per view. So you just want to find fault for not finding a fault. It gets to the point where that proves how fickle fans are. They want to attend to an AEW show, but they want to make a meme out of it. Are you really a fan, or are you just doing it for content? And context towards what you are trying to put a message across. These wrestlers, right, are working for AEW, enjoy working for AEW, and they've come out and said it, right? I'm not saying because I'm watching AEW for content, for my channel. No. I'm watching it because I'm a wrestling fan. I have friends that are in that company. Yeah, fair enough. I'm supporting my friends. What's wrong in that? But I'm still watching it before them friends join them. And yet, I see this all the time, right? Oh, MJF would be better if he was in WWE. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. WWE will probably claim copyrights of MJF if he wants to fucking keep his namesake under the company, and he won't be doing what he's doing in AEW right now. Yes, he joined Hurt Syndicate, but Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, MJF, that is working for the fan base, but people critiquing it. That much so, they're bringing race into it. I've seen posts. The thing is, right, I post stuff on TikTok. Occasionally they flag down racial slur and all this lot. Where I've actually seen a post, no bullshit here, where they turn around and say, Hurt Syndicate let a white guy join them. You wouldn't see a group of white men letting a black wrestler in. And I'm like, what? It's going through your pea-brain head to think that. So you can literally critique it that much. But if these wrestlers were so bad, the likes of Darby Allin, the likes of Sammy Guevara, the likes of, name but a few, Willow Nightingale, why the hell is she staying with the company? She's re-signed for another 3 years. She'll be doing well in WWE now. If you are so-called fans of these wrestlers, how are you not a fan of AEW then? You telling me you're actually just joining on the bandwagon because you are tribalism towards WWE, but you want these wrestlers to jump ship to WWE that's already got over 300 wrestlers, but you want more. And then knocking on the people that are actually not going to get TV time. Smart move. Smart move. Oh, you want the likes of John Moxley go back to WWE as Dean Ambrose. If people are not actually AEW fans, why are you wanting these people so badly in WWE? Oh, to be used correctly and all that lot. Yeah, fair enough, John Moxley's the champion. Yeah, fair enough, he's not defended it that often, but he's there week in, week out. He drove through a 7-hour snowstorm to be at Dynamite once. You know? Oh, Young Bucks should have come WWE. They've been running rife in the tag team division. How do you know who the Young Bucks are? How do you know how good they are if you've not even clapped eyes on the product? You know, it angers me when I actually see all this. When people literally say, what if such and such joins the company? What such and such joins AEW? I mean, WWE, you know? If you're a fan of that wrestler, you'll follow that wrestler. You know, when the likes of, this is a prime example of it. I know I'm bringing it up, it's a sore subject for AEW fans. But when AEW signed CM Punk, they all thought, okay, fair enough, they'll bring more butts on the seat. Sure enough, he sort of did. But some fans literally hated him on the internet. But then all of a sudden, as soon as he's gone back to WWE, you're loving him again. You're entitled to who you like and all that, like, don't get me wrong. But why these so-called WWE fans that are pretending that don't like AEW products, and yet you want these wrestlers in your company that you support? You know, every little bit is getting annoying. I'm not being funny. That photo that I actually saw that was made into a meme about the 9 Hour Show, that was third throne. Right? You guaranteed a cheer with that place. It proves how much them people have got money to burn to leave mid-main event. To leave the chair behind that you have purchased with your ticket. But it doesn't bother me at all. Right? The catch is, when AEW used to have empty seats around the arena, the amount of times people going, oh, Will Ospreay brags how big AEW is, but look, empty seats. Now they've got smaller venues, now you're trying to find another fault to pick. You know? It's not just AEW, what I'm on about is other companies. I could easily defend wrestling to the cows come home, as the old saying goes. But what Tony Khan has done with AEW and the Young Bucks, Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson, Kenny Omega, they've elevated so much with that company. From the drawbacks of losing Cody Rhodes, losing the likes of CM Punk. But you got to realise, right, I know this sounds daft, but Tony Khan was brave enough to fire CM Punk because he thought he was invincible. If you think about it logically, you got to give Tony Khan credit. He stuck up to the man that someone thought he was invincible because of his fan base. After what actually happened, yeah, fair enough, showing the footage didn't help the product. You hindered the product. Anything that AEW do differently, WWE fans allegedly don't like. And yet you want a difference in wrestling. You know? When people say, and I've said this, everything is done to shit in wrestling. To the point where you can't think of anything original until you do think of something original to make a namesake for yourself. You do it, but then you get bashed for it. You know? They are really trying to... WWE are trying to wipe out AEW subliminally. They claim they're not. WWE fans they're not. But they are. And it's not going to work. Why would you have shows on the same day as AEW pay-per-views? You did it at World's End. You've done it now Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing moved. Yes, moved. I can see the reason why. Because I felt like WrestleMania would have affected Double or Nothing ticket sales. So they picked up the ball, moved another state, before ticket sales went on sale. Right? Keep that in mind. Right? Because WWE think they're invincible, that's why they went there. Sure enough, look at the headache WWE's doing right now. Upsetting their own fan base about all the rumours and speculations with WrestleMania, yet it's not 100% confirmed that they're moving from Vegas. I've already done a video on this. Right? So that's what I mean. I look at the way wrestling is at the moment. It can be a toxic atmosphere, don't get me wrong, but when you're at a wrestling show or a convention, you enjoy yourself. You enjoy who you want to watch, don't get me wrong. But it really bugs the living shit out of me when WWE fans don't admit they watch other brands. It's a weird one. It's a weird situation to be in. You know, you should be grateful that wrestling is being in the public eye as much as it is. Because I will defend wrestling till the cows come home. I've already said this. To the point where whenever I had people hinder me, why do I still watch that? It's aimed for kids. And I could literally shoot a promo on their fucking asses. You know, why I still watch it. My escapism from reality like everyone else does on a film. You know, you could easily say that. You know. But at the end of the day, the friends I've actually made from doing this, like being a fan, as well as being on YouTube, as well as being on TikTok. You know, I've met some great people from doing this that support all wrestling, not just WWE. You know? That's why I always say I feel like WWE fans love to post on social media. The one thing that I'm really getting frustrated with, right? Fair enough, I promote my podcast as much as I can on Facebook. I say podcast, vidcast, whatever you want to class this as. And they turn it down because it's classed as spam. How's it spam when social media was designed to be sociable? You know? I couldn't actually type everything that what I'm actually talked about today in a message, could I? Because it'll look like I'm coming across I'm arguing when I'm not. I'm just stating a fact. You know? I know social media is hard to start up on again from fresh. I'm learning that as I'm going along with this, and I enjoy voicing my opinions towards professional wrestling. But it bugs the hell out of me. You know? I'm like, a lot of pages do accept my stuff. You know? It's one of those things that you're proud of something, be proud of who you are, don't get me wrong, as a wrestling fan. But if you join in these arguments towards other companies, you know, not just AEW, and you are a fan of that product, fair enough, WWE, fine. You know? I just want to say this. I am a fan of WWE as well. That's why I say I'm a wrestling fan. I don't brand whore. You know? This is why I hope AEW picks up where WWE is not picking up. You know? That's just me being honest. Because I hope for the best for them. Because no one's actually rivaled WWE since WCW days. You know? Technically ECW was going to rival them, but obviously because there was a small fish in a big pond, but there was a lot of potential there. If they had the money backing them. That Paul Heyman didn't have. Then you look at TNA. They had a lot of promise. You know what hinders me the most when people say about AEW? The way certain wrestlers talk about AEW that work for AEW. They always go, all it's doing is rivaling the likes of NXT. Right? That's fine. You know? It's a starting block. It's not rivaling the likes of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. I've heard this. Right? I turn around and say, okay, then fair enough. So what's NXT used to, what is technically a, if you wasn't working with TNA, would you class that as a rival then? No, they don't rival anyone. But the catch is, a lot of WWE fans are now watching TNA because of this deal. It's the thing is that they're a massive company, don't get me wrong. But it's just the same old shit. You know? I'm not saying it in a bad light or anything. It's just me being honest. It just confuses the hell out of me. Right? I guarantee you the majority of the people did legally stream last night. And they're scared to, it's weird enough, they can act all tough and mighty towards other fans of other companies. And yet they'll probably still go and watch it on a stream. You know, and that just baffles me. It used to happen a lot with TNA. And I can point this out. It used to happen with the likes of Ring of Honor. It used to happen the likes of, you know, what is wrong with AEW then? Tell me in the comments. You know, Be honest with yourself. What's truly wrong with AEW? There's nothing. End of the... Oh, it's badly booked. So's WWE at the moment. And you accept what they give you? Baffles me. But anyway, guys, I'm off. Hopefully I'm back later on giving my thoughts and opinions towards Monday Night Raw. Don't know what's happening from next week yet, because obviously starting the new job on the 2nd of June. But I'll know nearer the time, or if I don't watch it live, I do apologise. But until next time, guys, catch you guys soon.